Do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the party. Ezra Firestone from Smart Marketer, from Zipify, from Boom by Cindy Joseph, which is now Boom Beauty, from Overtone Color, from the new brand I just bought, Navage, in the building with you, with somebody who's become a good friend of mine over the last year, which is Oliver Kenyon. Now, I used to see Oliver's content on Twitter, and I would think, man, this guy's got great and wonderful conversion ideas that I should get my team following him, going through his stuff. Like I should. One of the things I believe in life is that we all have blind spots. And one of the things that's really wonderful is that there's other people out there with experience who can give us ideas and inspiration for our businesses. And it's what I strive to be is, hey, I'm just open sourcing for you what has worked for me and what hasn't. And I hope that you get some value out of it. And yes, I have courses and apps and all kinds of things, but my highest goal is that if you spend time with me, that you get value from it, because I know that your most valuable asset as an entrepreneur and as a human being is your time. And if you're going to take the time to pay attention to me, whether you engage with my business at all, I want it to have profited you. And because first of all, that's self-serving, right? Because then you'll have a good impression of me and maybe you'll come back and do business with me in the future. And also it just feels good to me and makes me feel good about myself and my life and like I'm doing good works in the world when I do my best to serve others. And so, you know, conversion rate optimization is something that, frankly, I did for my own brands for a long time because I grew up in this industry. And one of the ways that I sort of made a name for myself was split testing and conversion rate optimization. And I just have a knack for it. I have ideas. I understand the e-commerce buying process from even before the iPhone. I've been here for the growth of every platform. Like I came up in this industry. And so I'm good at this. And I constantly burn through conversion rate optimization agencies because I'm the one who brings forth all the ideas, and they kind of all have sort of like a, hey, this is they've got like maybe a year of their sort of playbook that once it's implemented, they don't really have much value. Don't remember exactly how I ran across Oliver, but when I tell you ConversionWise is the absolute best e-commerce conversion rate agency I've ever worked with, that is not an exaggeration. They are phenomenal, and their hypotheses for what they test is data backed. They go in, they do a bunch of data analysis, they do post-purchase surveys, they look at your site. So, and then when they test, not all tests win, but the tests are informed by true data of what's happening with the users, the cohorts of users. And so I've been really lucky to have them working on my brands over the last 4 months. They've made me a whole lot of money. And I'm really excited for this presentation by Oliver, where he's going to share the wins from my businesses with you, because what I'm committed to is open sourcing what's working for me so that you can then implement that, copy what works, take what you like. It's not like what I'm saying is the right thing, but it is like, this has worked for me. Check it out. See if it works for you. Try it on. And also so that he can share all he's been doing is CRO. Him and his whole team, Kyle, Victor, all the guys, Andy, there's a whole team there. And I'm sure there's women too. I just have not interfaced with them.
Well,
Maybe
make that
there's
intro.
one. Yeah. They have a true expertise in this stuff. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, look, you don't, from this presentation, you need one win, one thing to go and implement on your brand. That's all you need. And that will benefit you. And I think there's some kind of offer for sale. Maybe it's a digital course, or maybe it's the opportunity to work with Oliver at the end of this. I have no attachment to whether or not you do that, but I will tell you in the first 75 slides of this, there's going to be value that you can implement into your e-commerce brand. And then if you happen to be one of the 2,000 people who's going to watch this, that, or 2 or 5 or 10% of the people are going to watch this that are like, you know what? I'd like to dig deeper and dive in a little bit more and get a little more nuanced training than we can give you in an hour. Or I'd like to work with Oliver and his team. Rock and roll, highly recommend it. But this is first and foremost about giving you value and sharing with you ideas and concepts and practical examples of things that are working for us on our brand that you can implement on your e-commerce brand to make more profit. Because the more profit you make, the more money you have to make better products, the more money you have to pay your team and invest back into the growth of your company, and the more money that you have to pull out as an owner or as for salary that you can negotiate for if you're working for a company, so you can take care of your family and your community. Oliver, I'm going to stop talking because I think I've been rambling for like 10 minutes now. I'm going to let you take this away from a tactical presentation standpoint.
Amazing.
I will be listening, and I'll jump in if there's anything that I have to say. I think one of these slides is who I am. You can talk through that. I've been
I'd
around
like
a
to do
long time,
it. Yeah, I'd love to do
you
it
know,
for you.
um,
Absolutely.
but I'm going to just pass this over to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the intro. It means a hell of a lot, especially coming from someone, as been in this industry as long as you have. And as you said, you kind of came up on CRO. So to now be trusted with your brand CRO just means a hell of a lot. So guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. As Ezra said, we are going to go through the basics of CRO, what is conversion rate optimization, how you can implement it on your stores, on your sites, the fundamentals of CRO. But most importantly, and I'm guessing what you're all excited for, is this slide here. So this is a screenshot from our Slack channel with Ezra, where our team are getting huge wins for Ezra's brands. And specifically, this one is for Boom Beauty. I put this in here for social proof, a form of conversion principle. This is to obviously get you excited about what's to come. But before we get to those case studies and before we look into the winning test that we got for Boom, I just want to, as I said, go through the basics of CRO, because some of you may be aware of what conversion rate optimization is, but a lot of you you've heard this buzzword CRO, you've seen Ezra talk about it, you might have seen me talk about it, you might have seen others talk about it in Smart Marketer, in different channels on Twitter, etc. But a lot of you may not even know the fundamentals behind how you actually get winning tests, what it takes to get that winning test. And that's what I want to give to you today. As Ezra said, this is going to be purely value backed. Okay, I just want every single person to walk away with two things from this presentation. One, to know the absolute power of conversion rate optimization and what it can do for your brand in 2024 and beyond. And two, I want everyone on this workshop to have an actionable insight that they can go and implement on their store, on their site, on their brand to get a free win from us today. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about to get you guys some wins. We do have as Ezra said, an offer at the end, but I didn't want to make this a pitch. I didn't want to make it a discount. I didn't want to make it an offer. It's just going to be an offer to work with us, an exclusive opportunity to get on a free discovery call. So let's run through it. Let's go through it. And let's start with a few quick intros. I'm sure you are very, very aware of who Ezra is, and I'd like to do his slide justice next. Hopefully I do. But a very quick intro to me for those of you who don't know me. I'm Oliver Kenyon. I am co-founder of ConversionWise. I was a qualified chef turned digital entrepreneur, so I didn't actually turn full-time online until I was the age of 26. I know what you're saying. I probably look 26 now. That's a lie. I built the largest affiliate community online. So I started in affiliate marketing all the way back in sort of 2011, 2010. And I built the largest affiliate community online, which I sold in 2017 to Neil Patel. I started CRO all the way back in 2012. So I've been doing this for quite some time now. I have an obsession, an unhealthy obsession with what it takes to turn a click into a customer. And I've been doing it for the past 11, 12 years. We have built as a team. I say it's we, my team. I'm nothing without my team. As Ezra just mentioned, Victor, Kyle, Andy, Liza, everyone inside our team have helped do this. But we have built some of the CRO frameworks that have been used by millions of sites online. So we have created frameworks that are built to convert, that are used by millions of people online and millions of sites without them even knowing that we have built them. And I was lucky enough to found our beautiful company that I'm so passionate about, ConversionWise, back in 2013, alongside my best friend, my business partner, and my co-founder, Andy Haskins, who typically sits behind the camera. I always joke that I'm the ugly one, but I'm the face of the brand. Andy's the brains of the brand, so a huge shout out to him. We all know who this man is. I am super, super grateful for Ezra. One, for entrusting us with his CRO, but two, because I don't think there's many people on this planet that will actually allow us to be permissionless and to share all of the insights that I'm going to share with you guys today just openly. And I think that takes a very special and cool person. So shout out to Ezra. I'm sure everyone on this channel appreciates Ezra as much as I do, but a huge thank you for allowing us to share our journey with Boom, all the tests that we're going to share with you today, all the data, all the before and after designs, all the results. I don't think, as I said, there's many people that would allow us to do it. And Ezra is one of those amazing guys. So Ezra actually started ecom back in 2005. I'm sure there's probably people on this workshop right now that weren't even born in 2005, which is crazy. If that's you, put it in the channel. By the way, guys, we do have chat running. I won't be checking it, but at the end, we will have a whole session for Q&A. I do have Andy, my co-founder, and Liza from our team on here who are going to be checking those QAs. Me and Ezra can go through them at the end. But also, Ezra was the first Shopify Ecom University professor, which is a big, big deal. So he was the first person that Shopify entrusted to actually educate other people on CRO, on things within the ecom space. And I just think that's incredible. He manages a team of 180 plus people across 4 brands. I'm sure that's probably grown since I took this stat from our conversion rate conference that Ezra was good enough to talk at last year. His brands generate in addition of $55 million in revenue per year. And most importantly and selfishly for me, Ezra entrusts in conversion-wise with his brand CRO. So as I said, we kind of reconnected. We've been in the similar space for sort of 10 years or so, but we reconnected over Twitter, over our conference, probably about 6-7 months ago. And now for the last 5 months, we've been running exclusively all his CRO on his 2 brands, and we're going to share everything with you today. I'm just going to double check the chat just to see. Yeah, perfect. You can all see. Cool. Yes, as is the OG for sure. So a little bit about conversion-wise, the brand that Ezra does trust, the agency that Ezra does trust to do his CRO. We've actually been going for 11 years. We have built, and I keep throwing this stat out there. Ezra might be able to tell me I'm wrong, but I keep throwing the stat out there, and it could. I'm yet to be challenged, but I believe that we have designed more landing pages than any other agency on this planet. So 11 years, we've designed probably close to now 7,000 plus landing pages from scratch. So we actually, for the first 8 years of our agency, used to be called the Landing Page Guys. Some of you may be aware of the Landing Page Guys. That was us. We rebranded a couple of years ago to ConversionWise. We have also worked with over 3,500 plus brands as well. Okay, so we've been lucky to work with some incredible brands, some of the biggest brands in the world, Lionel Messi, Kim Kardashian, G Fuel, Ezra's brands, Lamborghini, and so many more. Most importantly, we are entrusted by Ezra and Boom. So a lot of you will know who Boom are. But if you don't, if you've been under a rock, if you haven't been reading Ezra's emails over the past couple of years, Boom was a company founded back in 2010. They're a pro-age makeup and skincare brand. So typically they're targeting the older demographics. They sell millions of items globally across each year. Guys, I'm not going to share the stats. That would be rude of me, but I have access to them, and it is quite remarkable what Ezra has built. They generate over 8 figures in revenue every single year. And again, I'm super proud to say that they entrust ConversionWise, my agency, with their CRO. And this is why we're so lucky that we're going to share everything with you today. So I want to start at the beginning. As I said, I know we have such a broad audience on this workshop and watching this replay. So I want to cater to everyone. I want to cater to those who are vastly experienced with CRO, but also those who may not know what CRO is or have heard of it, the term, but don't particularly know exactly what it is. So I'm just going to read this out for you. You can read it yourself. But I want to explain. So conversion rate optimization definition as a whole is it's a systematic approach where we make various adjustments and improvements to your website with one goal in mind. So typically speaking, everyone gets fixated with conversion rate. Yes, it's called conversion rate optimization. Yes, we all have been on Twitter sharing our conversion rates and celebrating these high conversion rates. I'm going to be the first to tell you that conversion rates mean nothing. And that mindset might sound weird, but we're going to talk about later having that North Star in mind, having that true objective that you're trying to achieve when it comes to CRO and your brand. And it's not conversion rates, okay? Conversion rates mean nothing. The metric you really want to focus on is revenue per visitor or revenue per session. So how much money am I making per click on my store? That's the true metric that you want to track. And the reason is because you can have conflicting metrics, okay? You can be fixated over conversion rates, but you can forget your AOV. So your average order value, your conversion rate might skyrocket due to a test or due to a new theme that you choose or a landing page that you're working on, but your average order value may really decrease because of the changes you've made. Now, those combined equal a less revenue per session. The same goes for, you can dramatically increase your AOV on the back end, but your conversion rate can tank. And again, you're not focusing on actually how much click you're making per customer. So realistically, that's what we need to track. It's revenue per session or revenue per visitor if you're an e-com, 9 times out of 10. So I've got this very basic graphic in front of us. As I said, guys, a lot of this stuff at the beginning will be basic, but we will lift the lid on everything we've done for Boom and all the tests later on in the presentation. But if my 87-year-old, bless her heart, granny was to ask me, or grandma was to ask me what conversion rate optimization is, this is the graphic I would use to explain it, okay? If you send 1,000 people to an unoptimized website, I mean, this would be a good conversion rate, but you may get 100 people purchasing your product. Now, the key here is if you send the exact same people, the people don't change, it's the website that changes, the store that changes, to an optimized website, 300 people might purchase. So this is why I want you to understand and underline the exact importance of conversion rate optimization and how powerful it can be to your brand in 2024 and moving on. In an age where, you know, things like ads, Facebook ads, etc., tracking attribution are becoming harder and harder, I obviously am a huge advocate of CRO, but I think there's no single marketing activity that can add to your bottom line and give you a bigger uplift than actually just optimizing the clicks that are already going to your website. I've been lucky enough, as Ezra had, to speak all over the world at some of the biggest events in the world, Performance In, Affiliate Summit, Ad World, etc., Affiliate World, and 95% of the talks are about creative and about traffic. And I think a lot of you forget how important and powerful CRO is and how it can have such a significant uplift on in your company. So when people come to us here at ConversionWise, we basically ask them one major question before we even start to dive into what we would suggest as the best practice for them to increase their revenue per session on their store. And that question is typically, how many hits are you receiving per month? How many unique visitors are you doing per month? And we then segregate those people into two sides of our business, okay? Now, I don't want any of you who are looking at this and thinking, okay, I'm under 50,000 hits per month, to shut off the webinar and not watch the rest, okay? Whatever I say within the whole workshop is going to apply to you regardless of how much traffic you get. However, if you are under 50,000 hits per month, depending on your AAV, it's slightly different if you have a higher AAV, but if you are under 50,000 hits per month, what you should be doing is taking far bigger swings. And what I mean by that is you should be focusing on things like landing pages, direct response sales pages, pre-sales, advertorials, listicles. What can you do as a big swing? Because you don't have enough data to quantify A/B testing quick enough to get big results quickly. So that's, as I said, that's when you would be focusing on new landing pages, new store designs, bigger changes, high impact changes, because the issue with under 50,000 hits per month is you've not got enough data going through that A/B test to get to the statistical significance quick enough to allow you to make big wins quickly. You're far better off taking bigger swings and creating direct response, aggressive sales pages, landing pages, etc. Now, we do both at our agency. So again, I don't want anyone watching this thinking, oh, this isn't for me. There is going to be so many things you can learn that you can apply, whether you're under 50,000 or over 50,000. Now, speaking of over 50,000, this is where you can start doing what we call ongoing conversion rate optimization. So yes, in essence, that means A/B testing, but there is so much more to it. But A/B testing is where we would suggest you would start, where you have 50,000 hits per month, because again, you have enough data to become statistically significant on a test quick enough to then implement that test as a winner or loser and move on. And I'll explain this in a little bit more detail as we go through. Guys, as I'm going through this, if there's anything, as I said, you have to ask, please go into the QA or the chat. We'll get to them at the end. Also, don't forget to take pictures, tag us in, me and Ezra, at Oliver Kenyon, at Ezra Firestone, on Twitter, etc. We will retweet this, and we really appreciate anyone who shares those things. So let's start from the basics, CRO setup. how can you, as a brand, as a company, get set up for CRO in the best possible starting point? And I want to start by looking at the CRO cycle. So typically that has kind of a 6-point, and we do it in this limitless curve because we believe that CRO is ongoing. It never stops. And I'll explain that as we go through this cycle. But we start with number one, okay? Observing data. And I'm going to talk about data. I'm going to go into details about data. I'm going to show you data that we've analyzed for Ezra's tests and walk you through exactly how we kind of pick that data apart to create these tests, to create these huge uplifts. We have actually now generated in 5 months upwards of 2 million in additional yearly revenue for Ezra's brand. So these are the tests that I'm going to divulge for you. So we start with observing that data. We really, in the first thing, we really need to understand our target demographic. That no longer can we just rely on guesswork, throw out a test and say, hey, that's going to work. And any CRO agency, not to knock any other agencies, but any CRO agency that you talk to that says they do predictable testing or guaranteed winning tests is lying and is going to lose you money. Okay? No two brands are the same. But we wouldn't, but even if we onboarded Ezra's biggest competitor today, we wouldn't be running the same tests because every brand is completely unique. You have to observe the data. You have to know your target demographic. You have to get to know the brand, the wants, the whys, the why are they purchasing? How often are they purchasing? Why are they not purchasing? And we'll go into that in detail. We then research and we come up with an audit. So we look at all that data. We combine the quantitative data and the qualitative data, and we create an audit based on that research. We then come down to point 3, where we create hypotheses. So hypotheses are basically just a fancy word for test ideas. We look at that data and we say, based on that data, we think this is going to increase revenue per session. And we create that whole list. You then test that hypothesis, and I'll explain how you do that, but that's typically done via an A/B test or an ABC test. We're not really going to touch on multivariate testing on this workshop. That's for higher volume stores. But we would test the hypothesis. We then analyze the results of the test, and then we implement those that are successful. But most importantly, we learn from those that are losing tests. And then it rinses and repeats, because what happens is if we get more winning tests, we generate more revenue. The revenue can then go back in ad spend. We launch new products, we launch new SKUs, and the cycle is endless. So hopefully you can see this. We're going to talk a little bit about choosing the right tools. I think there's 3 tools that are essential when it comes to basic CRO and getting set up correctly. One is an A/B testing software. Okay, so what does A/B testing software do? I know this is quite simple, but it allows you to create and run controlled experiments comparing 2, 3, 4, but normally 2 versions of a website page against each other. So A versus B, split the traffic. What converts better? We will give you the results. We personally use Convert. There are lots that are available. I have we don't get any kind of kickback for this or anything like that. We are a Convert premium agency partner. We just think it's probably the best software out there at the moment now that Google optimizes sunsetted for running A/B tests. If you do use this link or this QR code, you will get a 30-day free trial. So make sure you screenshot this or whatever you have to do. But it's really important that you pick a very good A/B testing software. This is what Convert looks like in the back end. So it gives you all of your results based on the A or B. It gives you power, statistical significance, etc., revenue per session increase or decrease, conversion rate increase or decrease, and it just gives you all the stats you know to make informed decisions. This is really important. Heat map software is crucial. Okay, again, heat map software gives you some real in-depth analysis on what your clients and customers and visitors are doing within your site or your funnel or your store or your landing page. The one we recommend, again, I'm just going to openly say this, we are investors within heatmap.com. Dylan is a good friend of ours who runs this, but heatmap.com is very innovative. So for a lot of you, you've probably heard of Hotjar, you might heard of Clarity, etc. These hot softwares are very good. They will give you a good heat map analysis. But where heatmap.com is different and where Dylan has done such a good job is it actually tracks based on revenue as opposed to clicks. So whereas, let's say Hotjar, for example, will tell you where people are clicking or scrolling, and that's good enough data, Heatmap takes it one step further and actually says, this is how much revenue is generated from these specific clicks. So we can make far more quality decisions based on the data that heatmap.com provides. So again, scan the QR code, take a picture. It's an amazing bit of kit, really, really good. As I said, the most important thing is it tracks revenue and not just clicks. So this is what Heatmap looks like. This is a test we ran on Boom. Again, it's not too different from all the other softwares that you might use already. But as you can clearly see, it says that revenue generated from here was X, Y, or Z. This can give us some really powerful analysis. For example, on a collection page, it can actually tell us which of your products were clicked and purchased. So for a quick win, we can just reorder the collection page via the highest revenue generated products. Okay, and that's just a quick win that you can implement via heatmap.com to increase your revenue per session. And the third one is a survey software. Okay, a lot of you will already be doing surveying of your audiences. If you're not, I can't say this strongly enough. You are leaving so much money on the table. Okay, you need to be surveying your customers. Post-purchase surveys are super, super valuable. Survey software, as it says here, allows you to create and distribute questionnaires to get direct feedback from your audience. It's like having a one-to-one phone call with your audience, okay? And and survey software is so powerful, and we're going to look into exactly what we would ask on a post-purchase survey, how to set it up in a second. We recommend No Commerce. Again, I have no affiliation with them. It's just what we use. We're not getting a kickback or anything from this link. It just goes to their homepage, but you can click or scan the QR code here. Very simple to set up, integrates directly into Shopify. And again, I'll show you how we would have that set up in a second. But this is the back end of No Commerce. It gives you responses based on questions you ask. You can then use those tests, those answers to hypothesize tests based on your findings. Okay, so let's start with CRO Essential, data collection and analysis, and this is quantitative data. So it's crucial. It's super, super crucial to know exactly what's going on in your store, okay? We need to know where the bottlenecks are. We need to know by looking at analytics where people are visiting, where they're dropping off, where the revenue per session decreases, where bottlenecks are within your funnel. And we can't do that without having eyes on your data. So whether you're using a third-party tracking software, like Hyros, etc., fine. Analytics, fine, if you have GA4 set up correctly. I know it's not that simple, but you need eyes on exactly what's going on within your store. So strategizing with data, a thorough understanding of user data allows for tailored strategies that specifically address the unique needs and behaviors of website visitors. For instance, the data indicates frequently abandons their cart page, the checkout page, and it allows us to isolate where the actual problem is happening instead of relying on guesswork. Shopify's backend data is getting better, but it's not reliable enough, okay? So we really need to double down on data. And I just did this kind of picture because I wanted to showcase to you how many steps there are before someone typically on a Shopify store purchases your product, right? We've got the product page. They might even come from a home page, then a collection page, then a product page, then a cart page, then a checkout page, then a payment page. And there's so many steps that someone has to take before purchase that if we don't have our eyes on it and we don't have that bird's eye view of the data and the analytics of where people are actually going, where they're clicking, where they're dropping off, where the revenue's being generated via click, then we are going in blind. We can make all the assumptions we want based on conversion design. And trust me, we've built a lot of the conversion design frameworks, as I said, so we can make, these guesswork that says, you need this element here, you need this above the fold, you need this here in your cart, you need social proof, trust, credibility, and all the conversion principles. But ultimately, we're going in blind if we can't actually see what that means on our site. Where are people dropping off? So data is a huge thing. On the flip side, qualitative data is super, super important. So understanding your audience, okay? And this is things like user testing, surveys, getting to know your customers. And this is, I think, what a lot of people either miss out on or don't do well enough. And I think, yes, you can get incredible insights from data, but I think from actually understanding your audience, the bigger wins come typically. That's what we typically would see. Okay, so there is no value we can put on actually direct customer feedback. So tapping into your user insights. Okay, so what this allows you to do is make informed CRO decisions from actually understanding your customers. Okay, we need to know. Again, I'm talking broadly here, so I'm not going specific down the boom route right now, but like we need to know why people are purchasing your product, how often they're purchasing their product, how often they're using your product. Really importantly, why did people almost not buy your product? Because all of these insights, as I said, will be completely unique to your brand. You can look at your competitors and you can assume that your customers will be the same. They're buying for the same reason. They're using it the same amount. But it's total bullshit. Your brand is completely unique. How you market your brand is unique. How it looks, how it feels, the attribution, where people are coming from, where they've landed, how many times they see your site before they purchase, how often they're using. All of these things are unique to your brand. So if you're lazy enough to just assume that you can put things out there based on what the market says or what your competitors are doing, you are literally leaving thousands, if not millions of dollars on the table. You need to understand your brand, okay? And there's no better way than doing that, in my opinion, than post-purchase surveys. So this is typically how a post-purchase survey would look, okay? Step number one, someone on your website purchases a product. So they come onto your Shopify store, they eventually, maybe that's first visit, third visit, 10th visit, they purchase your product. They make that decision to finally purchase your product. And what happens on the thank you page, especially with no commerce, is a nice integration seamlessly happens that you get your confirmation step, and below is the post-purchase surveys that says, thank you so much for purchasing. Please take 2 minutes to fill in this survey. It will really help us make a better brand and product for you. Yes, you can offer an incentive. You can offer them a chance to win an Amazon gift card and such. And what I would do, by the way, if you don't currently do post-purchase surveys, or you do have a list, is I would be emailing your list with a type form, with a Survey Monkey, with something that is a standalone survey with these similar questions that I'm about to show you, by the way, and doing exactly what I said. So offering them a chance to win an Amazon gift card. We've tried this with discounts. We've tried this with free products. Typically, people just want to win Amazon gift cards. So I would offer this as an incentive for people to fill in a survey. But this is how it happens when it's on store. So someone comes from Facebook, they buy your product, they go to the confirmation step, and we ask them questions. We then mine those questions. Now, ChatGPT and similar AI tools have made mining responses to surveys so much easier because we can upload CSVs and we can prompt ChatGPT to find similarities and common occurrences within replies to surveys. For example, we can use prompts like, look at these surveys. It might be 1,000 responses in a CSV. We can say, analyze this CSV and find pain points, find similarities, find tone of voice, find things that people like, things that people don't like. And we can analyze that data very, very quickly now with AI, which is really, really exciting. We can then create the hypotheses based on those survey responses. Conversion rate obviously goes up or down. Well, revenue per session goes up and down based on that. And then we loop the process back around as we do with CRO. I cannot underestimate how important post-purchase surveys and qualitative data is to creating your hypotheses. We have seen so many uplifts from post-purchase surveying people or just surveying your audience. As I said, if you're sat here thinking, shit, I don't have a post-purchase survey on my store and I've had 1,000 people buy my product, just go out and email them. Email them and say, we're trying to make our product better. Please answer these questions. We will pick a random person to win a $100 Amazon gift card, and you'll be amazed at how many responses you get. What do we ask in these post-purchase surveys? Okay, now a lot of these questions will be very, very specific towards your brand, okay? But some of the best questions you can ask, yes, it's important to ask, why did you purchase? One of the most powerful questions you can ever ask in a post-purchase survey is, why did you almost not purchase today? And again, I cannot tell you how many winning tests as an agency we have generated from that question. Why did you almost not purchase today? Because a lot of the responses you get will be the same. It will be things like, oh, we didn't know that you how quick your shipping was. We didn't know how quickly the product was to get results. We didn't know how long the lipstick would typically last on Boom. So there'll be these common occurrences that people will keep saying that you can then take and change the messaging on the front end to increase the revenue per session. For example, we work with a very, very large sandal brand. They sell shoes, sandals, and the brand owner, and we're all guilty of this as advertisers, as brand owners. We think we know what our audience was. They were fixated with the fact that the look of the sandal was so important. That these shoes looked beautiful, and every bit of messaging across the site was the look of the sandal. It looks amazing. Be the envy of your friend. The best looking sandal in the world. Whereas when we surveyed the audience and post-purchase surveys were set up, the majority of people said they almost didn't purchase because they were worried that the quality of the sandal wasn't good enough. So we got this insight and changed the messaging on the front end to lean into the fact that the quality of the sandal was really good, handcrafted, amazing leather, durable, built to last. And we changed the messaging on the front end. What happened? Revenue per session went through the roof. So there's some important questions here. You know, what did you love most about? Obviously, asking questions about the actual experience of purchasing to see if those are bottlenecks. What do you like most? What did you like least about the product or the experience today? What almost stopped you from completing your purchase? As I said, is super important. But start gathering data. And as I said, you can send this out as a one-time survey if you haven't done that already. So what do we do with these results? As I said, it's very, very easy now with ChatGPT and other AI tools to mine big lists and sheets of data. I would also do this with your reviews as well, guys. Another quick tip for you that I haven't put in here, but you can take this away, is if you have a large amount of reviews, I mean, even if you have hundreds, it's fine. But let's say you had thousands of reviews, go into your review software, export the reviews in a CSV and upload them to ChatGPT and just prompt it again to find things that I'm showing you here. So find negatives that keep coming up in those reviews. Find positives, okay? Spotting barriers. What are the recurring themes of barriers to entry to purchase? USPs is a huge one, and you'll see this in one of Ezra's tests later on within the workshop. USPs is huge. You know, why are people saying they love the product? What are the commonalities? What keeps occurring in these reviews? The same goes for surveys. And relevance assessment, so based on feedback patterns. So identify features that are relevant or relevant. And you can use all of this data and all of this information to create brilliant hypotheses, ideas, to create tests that more times than not win, okay? So we're going to go into the CRO strategy. We're just going to touch on this very quickly, how you can set up A/B tests, what you should be doing as a rule of thumb when you set these tests up to get the best out of these tests. And then, guys, I promise you what you've all been waiting for. We're going to look through these winning tests of Boom. Just very, very quickly, guys. Are you enjoying it? Is this good? Hit me up in the chat whilst I have a quick sip of my water. I want to make sure that everyone's getting some value from this. Boom, love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. Look, guys, I know you're joining from all over the world. Thank you. You're so kind. Honestly, that makes me feel so good. Thank you. Post-purchase. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Christoph. Thank you, guys. Much appreciate it. As I said, I know you guys are joining from all over the world, different time zones. We have hundreds of people live on this stream, so it's a pleasure to be spending this time with you. It's nearly 8 o'clock here in the UK. So I really do appreciate it. I'm glad that you're getting value. As I said, I know everyone's excited for those tests. I'm really excited to share them with you because trust me, it's worth the wait. But before we get into that, I want you to understand why we ran the test. It would be wrong of me. It would be, I'm such a huge advocate and I have such a passion for CRO that if I just came on here and showed you the winning tests and were like, you guys can do this too, you know, it's not what I believe in. I believe in giving value, setting the fundamentals up, showing you exactly how you can do this yourself, and then I can show you the winning results so you can actually be set up to get big results yourself. But thank you so much for the feedback. Let's jump straight back into it. So the CRO strategy. Okay, so how do we formulate a hypothesis? Now, the components of a strong hypothesis, again, I don't want to use buzzwords, fancy terms. Basically, we're saying the components of an idea, an A/B test idea, typically consists of three main components. Okay, you need to remember this. The change. So the change is what needs to change. A versus B. What's actually going to change within the test? Two is the expected outcome. So the results that we actually anticipate. So typically, as I said, 9 times out of 10, these are revenue per session increases. But what do we expect from that change? And thirdly, the rationale, the why. There has to be a reason. You can't rely on guesswork. You can't rely on predictable tests. Again, any agency, any guru, any muppet that says, oh, this test will guarantee to work for your brand is talking absolute garbage, okay? It's very unique to your brand. And that's why you have to look at that quantitative and qualitative analysis first and foremost. But what do you believe is going to change? Okay, so as I said, I've said this multiple times, but a hypothesis serves as a North Star. Okay, what are we looking to change? Most of the time, if you're an e-com, it's revenue per session increase, conversion rate, of course, but we need that blend across AOV and conversion rate. Okay, so prioritizing tests based on data. So yes, once you've come up with those hypotheses, it's really important to then prioritize them. Typically, you would rank them, and we'll look at ranking and how you rank tests, rank them based on the impact that they're going to have, and then the implementation it takes to actually set up the test. So, you know, a whole PDP redesign is going to be a huge implementation versus adding social proof to a cart is going to be very easy to do, and it's going to be quite high impact because it's within the cart, where a rule of thumb is the closer you get to the money page, so like the confirmation page, the bigger the impact should be. You know, your homepage tests don't naturally generate the revenue increases as much as cart, checkout, product page, collection page, and the pages that then come pre-purchase. Okay, we have to be ROI focused. So again, focusing based on the results, meaningful results. So we have to then rank based on what we think, as I said, when it comes to the money pages, what's going to have the biggest increase in your revenue. So these are three frameworks. I'm not going to go into these in too much detail that can be used. You've got the PXL frameworks, which is by CXL. Guys, if you haven't checked out CXL.com, they have a great CRO course. We actually have one ourselves, but CXL is an amazing course. They also have a very, very good tool that you can use for pre-test analysis that we actually use internally, and they have a good framework. We actually use the ICE framework, so ICE, and basically it's ranking your tests based on what you see here. So these columns at the top. So idea, impact, confidence, ease, and then you get a score. Okay, so you take each test, you put it in a table. So based on your data, based on your analysis, based on your ideas, you then list these in a table, and then you rank them based on this. Where out of 10 do I think it's going to have an impact? Am I confident that it's going to win? Okay, is it easy to implement? You then get your score, and then you sort via the highest score, and that's the test you should be running first and foremost, okay? So it's really important you have a framework when it comes to actually listing those tests as well. Let's look at actually now A/B testing. So the fundamentals of setting up a good A/B test. These are best practices, okay? So these are what we use internally here at ConversionWise, but you may have other ideas. Some people may argue different stats are important, et cetera, et cetera. This is what we believe after 11 to 12 years in this business to be most important when it comes to A/B testing as best practices. So of course you have the fundamental principles. You have a control versus a variant. As I said, typically that can be an ABC. Normally it's 1 versus 2, A versus B. You have variation A, you then have variation B, and you split test the two. Well, you test the two, A/B test the two of them. Yes, we can get into multivariate testing. Again, normally that's what you would do when you have a high influx of volume of traffic all at once, because you spin up so many variations. But normally in A/B testing, you've got a control versus a variant. It's really important to focus on power or statistical significance. So that's why a tool like Convert is really, really important, because it will give you the statistical significance of a winning or losing test. It will tell you, and I'll show you in a minute on Ezra's test, the confidence level of, is this a winning test within your store? And as I said, we use CXL's pre-test analysis calculator to come up with the predetermined testing window of how long we should test. which then allows us to get a power or statistical significance of a certain percentage before we say that's a winner. And I don't want to get too technical with you here today, guys. You can look into convert.com. You can obviously speak to our agency if you want us to do this for you. But we look for a 90% positive, up from 90%, to make sure that it's statistical significance, that it is a winning test, and then we implement it once we've got that 90% power. Sample size is important. It really is. Now, this is why I said to you at the beginning, I don't want you, if you are under 50,000 hits per month, to think, oh, none of this applies to me. You can A/B test on 1,000 hits per month. You can A/B test on 10 hits per month. It's just going to take you a lot longer to get to that statistical significance and that power rating than it would versus if you were doing 100,000 hits per day, of course, because you don't have that data to quantify it quick enough. But you can still test on any size. So typically, we say that a test should run between 50 and 100,000 hits. Like, you should run that through. But if your power becomes significant quicker than that, it becomes somewhat irrelevant. And obviously, depending on what you're testing, for example, if you're testing within the cart that's going to get fewer sessions than a homepage, we can make informed decisions. So a lot of people will tend to, and we do, will make informed decisions based on a mix between power, where it is on your store, and the kind of sample size. Now, duration, this is quite an important one. Normally, we wouldn't run a test for any fewer days unless it was so nailed on that it was going to win or lose. And by the way, we cut losers very quickly. But normally, we wouldn't run a test for fewer than a couple of weeks. And the reason is you don't want any external factors affecting that test. So you want it to run on 2 Mondays, 2 Tuesdays, 2 Wednesdays, 2 Thursdays, because there could be things like your competitors could be having a sale, there could be seasonality effects, there could be third-party effects of news, of a recession. You just don't know what can affect your store. You know, we all are advertisers, we all are brand owners, we see the fluctuation of sales, up, down. One day you might just have a rubbish day in sales, and typically everyone else on Shopify is doing the same. So, excuse me, you can't let those things affect, hence why we run it normally over kind of a 2+ week span. And randomization is one that is obvious, but it has to be completely random. Okay, you have to split. You know, sometimes we do have clients that say, you know, we only want to run 20% of traffic to the test. The fairest way to do this, guys, is 50-50. Let your agency run 50-50 and you'll get better results, basically. So yeah. Best practices when it comes to actually creating these tests is creating very clear hypotheses. We've said this, coming up with that based on the framework, whatever table you come up with. Avoid conflicting tests. This is a big one, guys. We get asked this quite a lot. Should I be running 2 A/B tests on the same page? If they have nothing to do with each other, it can be okay, but I would just say no. But if, for example, you want to run a above the fold product page test versus changing some of the questions in your FAQ way down the fold, you're probably going to be all right. But what I wouldn't do is have a above the fold headline test and button positioning test running at the same time, because again, you're just going to be conflicting the 2 tests. They're going to be headbutting each other. One will say one thing, the other will say the other, but you don't actually know that they're just not contradicting what they're doing. So normally, as a rule of thumb, run 1 test at a time and keep those tests as far apart within the funnel as possible. So you might want to run a checkout test and then run a homepage test. You might want to run a collection test and then run a product page test. Don't typically have 2 or 3 conflicting tests on the same page or within the same kind of page on your store. Obviously, it goes without saying, QA your tests and do this thoroughly. Anyone knows this. If you don't thoroughly test your tests, then you can again skew your data. Tests can go wrong, of course they can, where things aren't properly tested and the checkout may not work on the 50% of the data you run to a test, which then skews your data, says it's a losing test, but really you just didn't test the test out. And you didn't realize there was a bug in development or whatever that may be. So always QA your tests, really, really important. And as I said, prioritize revenue over conversion rates. We've been saying this for years now. Don't focus on conversion rates. Focus on revenue per session. Judge people on revenue per session. Judge your results on that revenue per session as well. Right, guys, the moment you have been waiting for, the moment we are so grateful to Ezra for allowing us to do this. You are going to literally now get to lift the lid on an 8 to 9 figure Shopify brand run by the genius Ezra Firestone himself. And he has given me permission to share everything with you. So I have 5 tests to show you with you today. So we've been working with Ezra for 5 months on Boom and Overtone. We've got some amazing results for Overtone as well, but I just went with Boom because I'm sure that most people are more familiar with Boom. But we've been working for 5 months. We've got 5 winning tests within that 5 months, and we have increased his annual revenue by a predicted. Obviously, if everything stayed the same, I'm not going to stand here and say it will. It could be more, it could be slightly less. $2.1 million increase in annual revenue from the exact same clicks. And that's the importance of CRO. It's the same visitors that are going to your store. Okay, this is the difference between optimized and unoptimized. Okay, an uplift in $170,000+ per month from the same visitors. This is the power of CRO. Guys, I'm gonna have a sip of my drink. Put a thumbs up or hell yeah in the chat if you're ready for me to get into these tests.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Boom. Fire. Hell yeah, yeah. Cool. Love it. Okay, guys. This is what you've all been waiting for. I'm so excited. Cool. Okay, let's jump into this. I want to start with this warning. Really, really important. These tests will not work for your brand. Underlined. I haven't got an underlined. I should have done, but I've given you the warning sign. Now, this is not to say they won't work. They will work. I just wanted to really make this point important. If you've been listening to anything that I've said throughout this previous hour, hopefully I'm not boring you. I want you to take away that every brand is unique. I would love nothing more than all of you hundreds, if not thousands of people who are on this live now to take these 5 tests, implement them on your store, and generate the same results that we got for Ezra. I would love nothing more. There would be literally nothing more satisfying in my life as a self-obsessed CRO expert, whatever you want to call me, to get these results for all of your brands. But it's important that I don't come in here like some fake guru and say, guys, this is all going to work for your brands. They're not, okay? You need to do what I've just told you, or you need to hire an agency to do what I've just told you to understand your demographic, your customers, your brands, okay? And that's how you will get these sort of results. Now, that's not to say that they won't work. I would, sometimes these will work for your brands, but we did the legwork for Ezra. We spent weeks looking at data, analyzing heat maps, analyzing post-purchase surveys, etc., to come up with these hypotheses. Let's start with winning test number 1, guys. Okay, so this is a mega menu test. You can see within Convert, we are powered, we are statistical significance, and I'm going to break down the exact test for you. I'm going to go through the test, the why we came up with the test idea, the what we did, and I'm going to show you the before and after designs and the results. So we did an ABC test here. So we A versus B versus C on Boom's mega menu with the addition of bestseller carousels and reorganization of the menu items. And don't worry, guys. Like I said, I'm going to show you the design so you can clearly visualize this. But first, as I said, I could just show you the designs and the results and you would go, wow, let's do it. But I want you to understand why. I want you to understand how we came up with the hypothesis. So the goal was to optimize the navigation by aligning menu with user interests and engagement metrics, thereby aiming to increase the revenue per session. Heat map data. Again, we used heatmap.com. Go and join it. It's an amazing bit of kit. That suggested while some menu items were performing well in terms of IPS, so revenue per session, their placement didn't reflect the importance of relevance. So what that's saying is, when we looked at the heat map data, links maybe in the menu below the fold or further down on the menu, itemized, were actually generating really good amounts of revenue, but they weren't at the top of the menu. And again, it's a very quick win. It's almost like a lazy win for a CRO to go, if we sort these via the highest revenue generated links, it typically is going to make you more money. And no shit, it did. But also reordering items via and having bestseller labels to really visually showcase people what everyone else was purchasing. So don't forget, guys, that a lot of people, when it comes to UI UX, a lot of people, a lot of it is about just making things as easy as possible for people to make a purchase decision. But a lot of people will come to your site that aren't repeat purchases. They'll come as a new purchaser. And sometimes we need a nudge. Imagine if you were in a retail shop, right? You go into Zara today and you're with your friend and you're looking at 10 different blazers and your friend goes to you, oh, I really like that one. You're more than likely to then go and buy that one because your friend likes it. And it's that kind of that power of association with someone else where it's a social form of social proof and trust where it's like, I like that one. Oh, okay, I like that one as well. I'll buy it. So this is what we're kind of doing within the mega menu. We're labeling those that people have purchased. So there's that social proof. So it makes it an easier buyer decision for someone who's a first-time purchaser. So what did we do? Both variants, so the B and the C, had a bestseller carousel at the top of the mobile immediately to capture the attention and provide quick access to the top-selling items, so making that purchasing decision quicker. But we then reorganized those with RPS, so via revenue per session, so whichever generated the most revenue, we then reorganized within the menu. And then variant C, we actually added further social proof with a testimonial, which I'll show you now. So here we go. Here's the before and after. This is the before. This is what Boom was running before. As you could see, a very simple menu. And by the way, guys, one test that I would do before any or most stores is a mega menu, because this is typically where we see the biggest increase in revenue per session as an overall. Like 9 times out of 10, a mega menu test wins. So this is a really good place to start. And this is what we did. We sorted at the top. We had a carousel that actually showcased the best-selling products. We made it really easy for people to come onto the store and find something that they really wanted to buy because we had that social proof. We then organized the menu items via revenue per session. So from our heat map data, we allowed us to then reorganize the menu items via heat map for revenue per session. We put clear visuals on the menu options as well, because people associate with a visual, not just a link. And then we even backed it up with point number 3, the social proof. We actually included a testimonial within the mega menu itself. Social proof, as we know, is super, super powerful. And let's have a look at results. Guys, I've got a massive effect here if this works. Hey, there we go. Look at this. Okay, so that mega menu winning test resulted in an additional upwards of 48K per month, predicted revenue of over $500,000 per year, but really importantly, revenue per session increased by 32 cents. Moving on to test number 2 was a landing page redesign. So Ez and the guys drive a lot of their media to dedicated landing pages. A huge tip I would encourage most brands to do. You're going to get some really good results from driving to things like listicles, pre-sales, advertorials, but also direct response aggressive landing pages. Shout out to ConversionWise, who've developed and designed more than anyone in the world. I'm pretty sure. If you know different, argue in the chat. But this is the second test. So we redesigned Boom's landing page, one of their top performing landing pages. And as you can see, we've got power, significance, and I'll go through results in a minute. But this was to improve readability. It was very obvious based on data and analysis and all the kind of qualitative and quantitative research that we did, that Ezra's Boom demographic is slightly older. Therefore, by improving the readability, increasing font sizes, making titles more clear, and structuring the page in a more simple way, it would be more visually appealing to that demographic, and therefore more people would purchase. So the goal was to enhance the user engagement on the landing page, encouraging more visitors to scroll, because this is a listicle page / kind of sales page where there is like a 5 things about Boom that pre-qualifies and pre-warms up the customer before they purchase, to increase the CTR, the click-through rate to the shop and to the main product listings. The hypothesis, so the idea, was that aesthetically pleasing and easy to navigate and read pages would captivate the user's attention more, leading more to an extended interaction and the likelihood of them clicking through to that all-important money page. So what did we do, guys? I'm going to show you in a minute, but we streamlined the content for better readability. So we reduced the columns. We made it 1 column versus sort of 2 or 3. We improved the visual layout to make the page more attractive. So just a hierarchy of how we laid things out, and I'll show you. We ensured that all the call to actions were clear and compelling. Really important, guys. If you look at your stores now and you have a call to action that's just like, add the cart, buy now, It's boring. You want to get very creative, and you want real actionable call to action. So, grab mine now, get mine now, save 50% now, get this for $70 today. Things that are really inciting that action taking. And we implemented design principles to guide them naturally through the landing page. So there is a process of this kind of somewhat ADA framework that we've adapted that millions of people now use. You can read all about it inside our academy. I'm not going to go into detail now, but let's have a look at some of the main changes above the fold. I haven't got the after of this one because it's too big to put both on the page, but sorry, the before, but here's the after for you. So a very clear title. Again, look at the way you didn't see the before, but before there was kind of 3 columns. We've just simplified that with 1 column of data. We've made the fonts bigger. We've made the titles hit harder with bigger fonts, pink fonts, so they stand out. We've done really far more actionable call to actions. So claim your offer as opposed to, learn more. It's far more actionable. It has that sense of kind of FOMO and get it now, claim your offer. It is really, really important. And just again, just from seeing the before, it was more text heavy, just having clear pointers on the listicle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, bold titles, bigger fonts, spacing things out. Again, this isn't guesswork. We hypothesized this based on the analytics that we found within Boom Store. Older demographics, they wanted clearer, more simple pages, and we just simplified it. And again, a very, very big increase. So over $20,000 based on just this one page that Ez and the team were driving direct traffic to. Increase in revenue, most important. All of this is hearsay. Yes, we hope that everything stays the same, if not improves, and you see a huge increase in annual revenue. But really, what's most important is this, the 37 cents extra that Ez and team can now get from sending a click to this specific page. Okay, winning test number 3, guys, PDP above the fold. So everyone knows how important your product page is. Above the fold is the single most important section, especially on mobile. And there's some subtle things you can do to really, really increase that conversion rate, revenue per session. And as you can see here, we did another ABC test on this. And as you can see, variation 1, which I'll show you exactly what is, significantly increased the RPS. So the test was a multifaceted optimization of above the fold area on the product detail page. The goal was to improve the effectiveness in converting visitors by incorporating things like social proof, addressing scarcity, and providing convenience. A lot of things are based around convenience. Yes, again, I'm not going to do it justice on this workshop, but we have whole lessons around all of the principles around what it takes to convert someone. Things like trust, credibility, a huge social proof. FOMO can work and scarcity can work, but it needs to be done in a subtle way. But with the aim, again, of increasing that revenue per session, enhancing the product page social proof, as a review stats and star ratings, along with more prominently placed discount badge and a sticky add to cart button, was based on tapping into the cognitive biases that influence purchase behavior. Again, we could see from post-purchase surveys and data that what was really important to purchasers of Boom were testimonials. And this will probably be the same for most brands, but even more so, like I've never seen it as much as Boom's audience, where they rely heavily on testimonial because they're targeting a specific demographic and age group. It's really important that they see similar people of the similar ages recommending their products. Another quick test, and this is again just outside of this test, but a quick hack that everyone can do, is we've done this with multiple brands, but actually adding a dedicated review page to your store can dramatically increase your RPS. So just having a review page where you have all of those reviews embedded with call to actions can be really, really, really good. So what did we do? We took that above the fold product page and we redesigned it. And guys, it's not huge changes. You'll see on the next slide. These aren't huge changes, but because of the volume of data that Ez and his incredible Facebook guys at Smart Marketer are doing, you can see the revenue increase shoots up very, very quickly. So we added a review summary higher above the fold. We brought that review summary up, okay? Before, I'll show you in a second, it was below the fold. Now we brought it right up because we could tell by that post-purchase survey data and looking into the analytics that everyone was really, really found reviews and testimonials so important on this particular brand. We repositioned the discount badge for higher visibility. So again, just making sure that people, when they load within that frame, within that fold on a mobile, saw that discount badge instead of having to scroll down to the buy now section. So straight away, they saw the value proposition and the value they're going to get from the discount on this page was really important. We implemented a sticky add to cart. Again, guys, a very quick tip. If you don't have sticky add to carts, test them. Where people get these wrong is they have them load from default. On mobile, wait till someone scrolls at least 25% and then load your add to cart. Sticky add to cart, really, really important. We also hypothesized that from heat map analysis, again, heatmap.com, a lot of people wanted to see more pictures. So before Ez and team had these tiny little radial dots, which would symbolize more pictures within the product image section. And we saw a lot of people were clicking them, but not a lot were going through the images and then purchasing. So clearly people wanted to see the more pictures. They just didn't really have a good enough UX UI to be able to do that. The usability of the thumbnails wasn't there. So I always recommend using actual thumbnails under your images as opposed to the radial dots, because it's more of a visual that there is more, and I'll show you that in a second. And then version B was found to be the most effective, where clicking add to cart would actually slide out the cart, confirming the action. So here's the test. This is A versus B. So again, very, very subtle changes, guys, really subtle. But as you can see, huge, huge increases as I show you the results. So really importantly, as I was mentioning, these sort of radio dots underneath on the before, yes, people could go through images, but not many people were finding the usability easy. Again, typically this is an older demographic, you know, thumbs on mobiles, etc. We made it super easy and super visual, which is more important, by having these thumbnails, making sure that the thumbnail was selected and what they were on. We had this progress bar underneath that symbolizes you can scroll through more thumbnails, just showing people there is a commonality in that if more people view more images in your image deck, they're going to, in your image section above the fold, they're going to buy your product. So the more people that scroll through images, the more likely they will to buy your product. Okay, really important. Notice 1-to-1 ratio in your image, so it pulls everything above the fold. Okay, number two, we've enhanced that discount. Okay, we brought it above the fold. We've made a clear label that stipulates that buyers get a discount on this product page right above the fold itself. And then number three, we pulled that, as I said, social proof up. You can see here, social proof has come up here. And then we've just expanded that tab on the money back guarantee, just so that people can read the information that supports the call to action about that money back guarantee. Yes, there are a few other changes. As you can see, this is your sticky add to cart. One tip as well, if you have a sticky add to cart and you don't have social proof on it, add it. Really, really simple, but making sure that you add the actual rating and the visual stars by that add to cart is going to increase your revenue per session. And let's have a look at the results. So this was a big, big uplift, almost 500,000 increase per month, per year for Boom. A huge revenue per session increase to 0.54 cents per visitor, which is huge. But don't forget, guys, this was rolled out across all product pages. The findings can then be, you can learn from these findings and implement them across the site. Guys, who's enjoying this? Who wants to see the final two tests? Hit me up in the chat. Let's go. I need some feedback. Yeah, love it. Heart, heart. Woo, yeah, love it. Let's go, let's go. Yes, please. Awesome, awesome. Yes, please. Let's get it. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Thank you, guys. Cool. Right, two more. And then I'm very happy to answer any questions. I want to bring Ez back on as well, because I know he is a genius when it comes to this stuff as well. So test number 4, cart optimization. Fewer sessions because it's in the cart, so we can rely on fewer sessions. Not many people, as I said, will go to your cart. Obviously, on your homepage or product page, you're going to get higher sessions. But what's most important is that statistical significance. We are powered up. We are optimizing our cart, which is a super important page. And the test was amazing. I was even myself amazed at the results of this test. And this is why you cannot rely on guesswork, okay? You have to look into the data. You have to test these things. But what we did is we actually removed the discount code prompt. Before, these guys had a prompt that comes up and says, enter your discount code to get discount. We removed it. Now, you would think that would have a negative effect on revenue per session because everyone's after a discount. We then replaced it with unique selling points based on post-purchase surveys. Those things that people said they loved about the brand, we just shoved it in front of their faces. on the cart. And it had a huge, huge impact. Okay, so to streamline the checkout process by reducing potential confusion, because this is the key. Okay, so that discount pop-up was actually confusing people, because if you think, what's the first thing you do when you go to a checkout and you see a discount code box? Now, I'm not saying get rid of them. This is why I say you have to test. But what's the first thing you do? I'm guilty of it. I go to Google and I search for brand name discount code. And typically speaking, it will be a negative experience, because you'll go to all of these discount sites that promise a discount. You click it, you get all these underpops, all these affiliate links, and you'll never ever find a discount code. You can then become somewhat pissed off, and maybe, just maybe, you then don't follow through with your purchase. So this is what we were finding on Boom, that actually by removing that discount box, we were decreasing the confusion and therefore increasing the likelihood of people checking out. Okay, so the why? Feedback data showed us that a message about adding discount might have actually caused confusion with customers without a code. They would go looking for a code, especially if you're on mobile. You might not be able to find your way back to the original page or purchase, or the cart might not save. You might be thrown back into that home page. Who knows? And this is the problem with just guessing that a discount box would work. Sometimes these things don't. More importantly, people care about trust and credibility. People care that you're a real brand and you care for your customers. So that's what we focused on. So what we did is we removed the prompt regarding the discount code at the checkout stage, and instead we gave greater prominence to those USPs, and we call it like our trust policy bar, or whatever you want to call it, but this is what it looks like. Okay, so before, as I said, I can't really show you because it was a prompt that came up, but this is what the checkout looked like above the fold. We added this and removed that prompt, but most importantly, we added this. So this is a scrolling bar that focuses on 4 or 5 unique selling propositions about your brand that makes you trusted and credible as a company. So that might be things like 60-day money-back returns. That might be next-day delivery. That might be 24/7 support. That might be made in the US. That might be vegan-friendly. That might be 100,000 plus 5-star reviews. But whatever makes you trusted as a brand, shove it in front of people's faces, okay? And we did this, and let's have a look at the results. Okay, an increase of over $40,000 from their same exact visitors, okay, per month. Nearly 500,000 from just removing that discount prompt and adding those USPs in the cart page. A huge increase, because this is obviously the cart page, of $1.50 per click. If I offered any of you $1 extra per click, you would snap my hand off from those simple changes. I don't want you to, as I said, I don't want you to think that these things are simple. They are simple in their implementation, but you have to do the background work. Hence why I showed you how to do proper CRO in the beginning to come to these decisions of hypotheses or ideas. Okay, guys, last test. Winning test number 5, and I've got some really cool stuff to share with you after, and of course, we'll open up to a QA. I hope you've enjoyed this so far. Collections and labels. Collection pages are so, so important. So many people get things wrong on collection pages, but this was another great test. So adding descriptive labels like bestsellers, new, most popular, trending on the listing on the homepage. It says homepage, it's a collection page, along with clearly displayed pricing. So again, usability, just making things clear for people, prompting people on what's the bestseller, what's low in stock, what's new. Also highlighting the prices to make it very, very simple for people, okay? To guide visitors towards products and facilitate decision-making by providing the descriptive cues, directional cues, actual descriptive cues. These things are so important for people, okay? Usability is huge, but we don't come to the usability decisions without doing our analysis and data. Okay, obviously increasing our RPS. One thing I want you to take from this workshop is that you're going to be going to sleep tonight dreaming of revenue per session increases. The why. Okay, for new visitors who may be unfamiliar with brands and offerings, labels indicating popularity. Again, that kind of social proof, that fear of missing out. If they like it, I like it. Novelty can serve as an effective navigation aid. Transparent pricing removes the potential barrier because people don't want to guess about the pricing. If you don't have pricing on the collection page, people have to then click through to your product page. They then see the price. They don't want that product because it's too expensive. They don't have to go back to your collection page. You know, just put it in front of people. Make the decision really simple for people. Okay, so, sorry, this says homepage, it's collection page. The collection page, product listings were enhanced with labels, highlighting the best sellers, trending, etc. And we added the prices, and you can see this. Very simple, guys. As I said, these tests aren't completely, because of the volume of data that Ez and his brands do, we don't have to take these huge swings. We don't have to read completely, obviously we did on the pre-sale, but we don't have to completely redesign the collection page. Ezra, of course, is a genius. He does 95% of things amazingly. It's just these tiny little tests and implementations that we can take to even increase revenue per session of a genius like Ezra's brands. Okay, so number one, we added these labels: bestseller, new, trending, okay, to your card images on your collections. And by the way, guys, if you're looking at your collection pages now on mobile and you just have 1x1 cards, you're losing money. Make sure you stack them 2x2 because you can then fit 4 above the fold. And a big mistake that a lot of people make on their collection pages, they have these ugly carousels at the top, these huge images with big text that says collection page. All you're doing is pushing all your products below the fold. People are on the collection page because they want to view your collection. Pretty simple. Most of the CRO is pretty simple. Okay. Secondly, we then added a more descriptive call to action and put the price on the collection page itself. Buy it at $79. Okay, let's have a look at the results. Follow one last time, guys. Nearly $30,000 in additional revenue. RPV increase, or RPS increase, of 0.83 cents, adding to an additional 350K from the same exact clicks per year. I'm just going to quickly summarize what we've gone over. This is really important before we get into the QA. Basic fundamentals of CRO. CRO is website efficiency, really. It really is just how efficient you can make it for someone to purchase in your journey. Setup and tools is crucial. 3 crucial tools, okay? You need A/B testing software, you need heat map software, and you need post-purchase or survey software, okay? Data plays a huge role. Data is so important. Make sure that you have your analytics set up. If you can't do that, hire an agency like ours who can make sure that your GA4 is properly dialed in. Understanding your audience is, in my opinion, even as important, if not more important, than the actual data itself. Getting to know your target demographic. Every brand is unique. You cannot rely on the same data that your competitor does. You can't do what your competitor does. Your competitors' customers are not your customers. They didn't come from the same ads. They didn't come from the same attribution. You know, they weren't coming from the same pre-sale pages. They didn't come with the same objectives. They didn't come with the same qualification in their mind when they come to your site. They are completely unique. Survey them, ask them, why did they purchase? Why do they almost not purchase? That's the key question, because that question gives you so many learnings that you can change on the front end. Okay, formulating CRO strategies. So develop hypotheses, rank those hypotheses, take this shit seriously. Don't just throw out tests willy-nilly, rank them. Highest impact versus easy to implementation versus confidence level is what we use. And then go and test, okay? Go and test and take those basic rules of thumbs. Just to recap Boom's results. Now, the stat that's super, super important here is that bottom stat. We've run in 5 months 18 tests for Ezra's Boom store. 13 of them have lost, okay? Not many people would be on a workshop around CRO and $1 million plus case study, 2 million now, $1 plus case study, and say 13 of our tests lost. We want to give you an honest and open reflection of CRO and how it works. More tests will lose than will win. The best agencies out there learn from the losing tests. They understand why they lost. They then implement that on winning tests and they adapt their learnings because of those losing tests. We cut losing tests very quickly, of course we do. And the winning tests will 100x those losing tests when you find them. But I'm not going to stand here and sit on this workshop and lie to you and say that every test is a winner. We did 18 tests, they all won. We've generated Ezra 10 million. Like, no, the reality is when you do A/B testing, a lot of your tests will lose, but you need to understand why they lost and take those learnings and put them into winning tests. And then those winning tests compound every single time, every single month, every single click. But the fun has just begun, okay? So when it comes to CRO, there is so much more, okay? You should be doing things like full site walkthroughs, usability testing, review mining, as I mentioned, weekly reporting, ongoing research. You should be looking into your pre-purchase using Zipify for upsells, cross-sell, one-click upsells, okay? Ezra has developed this incredible software that allows you to do this and generate so much more revenue. Site speed is crucial, okay? Dedicated landing pages. And this, I didn't want to put this here just to say that, you know, everything we've just been through is really easy. It's not, but you should be doing all of these things, and all of these things are what will have a dramatic effect on your store. So that's why I'm just going to offer you this exclusive opportunity. This isn't a pitch. I'm not going to do a whole Russell Brunson-esque breakdown of if you don't get this, you will not make a success in business. That's complete bullshit. I'm just going to be really honest with you. If you guys want a very open and honest, transparent, free growth plan, CRO growth plan for 2024, scan this QR code, or you can go to conversionwise.com/Ezra. Keep it in a browser because we're going to give so much more value in this QA. Keep it open, or you can email me direct on oliver@conversionwise.com. We will get you on a call with myself or one of my team. We'll look at your store, we'll understand your business, and we will give you a game plan. We will say to you whether you should be focusing on landing pages, whether you should be focusing on direct response sales pages, whether you should be doing ongoing CRO like we're doing for Ezra. But we'll have an honest conversation. We'll get to know your brand, and we'll give you some feedback. And that opportunity is free for you guys today. If you scan that code or go to /Ezra. Ezra, I'd love to bring you back in, have a sip of my water. I am very open to any questions. Thank you so much to everyone who stuck around. And yeah, let's work through some of these questions. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'd love some feedback in the chat.
That was absolutely fantastic, Oliver. You are the man. Thank you so much. I love that you went through all the examples because people can just copy that and implement it on their store. I think if anybody wants to go deeper, definitely check out Oliver's offer. Ollie, I actually only had until 3:30 budgeted.
Of course.
People are saying insane value, really amazing. So people are happy, which I'm stoked about. I'm going to leave you to do the Q&A because frankly, you're the CRO expert anyways. But I want to say I appreciate your time, your energy, and the content that you delivered, and I hope that some people take you up on your offer.
Thank you so much, Ezra. I appreciate you as well so much. Thank you for letting us share. Guys, let's stay on. Let's give a huge thank you to Ezra, please, in the chat, please, because Ezra is the guy, like I said, who took the time, who allowed us to do this, who allowed us to open up the lid on his business. So thank you, Ez. I will stay here and do the QA myself. I appreciate it.
Rock and roll, baby. Take it easy.
Right then, guys, let's get into this QA. As I said, Andy, maybe you can come on and ask some questions if that's cool. I think you should have your audio. If not, I can do it in the QA itself. It's not a problem.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm here.
Perfect.
I'm here. There's some great questions in here. I was extremely tempted to answer so many of them, but I feel like especially you to answer them. Like,
as I said, Andy's the brains behind my this business, our business. I'm just the one who talks very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd recommend having a scroll through the Q&A anyway. There's 40 questions open. There's some really good ones in there. I can answer some by typing as well, but if you want to just cherry pick a few, there's some great ones in there. There's a few questions that came up with regards to specific softwares. There's a few that came up. There are a few guys, Gaurav, and a few others that asked if the info you've given today is applicable to startups or people who don't have traffic, or what you would maybe recommend for those guys as well to get started.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I put the link in the chat. Maybe Andy and Liza can do that as well. A few people are saying that the link isn't working, but as I said, you can just go to conversionwise.com/Ezra, or just fill in the type form on our site at conversionwise.com, and we will give you that free kind of audit and report. But yes, as I said at the beginning of the session, these tips are applicable to anyone. Where I would differentiate is based on your traffic volume. So as I said, if you are under 50,000 hits per month, I would be taking bigger swings. I would be either doing it yourself using Zipify, or finding high converting product templates, which don't really exist, or using an agency like ours to design and develop you high converting direct response sales pages, because you can afford to take bigger swings. You can take bigger risks. When you're a brand the size of Ezra's or bigger, redesigning your store is literally the worst thing you can ever do. And we see this quite a lot, because we get some huge brands coming to us and they say, you guys have built all the frameworks, surely you can design us a store that's going to convert better. And it's not always the case, because you're relying on guesswork. When you have something winning, and when you have something that works and generates you revenue, try instead to iterate to higher success. That's why A/B testing is so powerful, as opposed to taking all the risk on something that may actually convert worse. So yes, these things are definitely applicable to all sizes as far as conversion principles. I really don't want to plug our services on this. I don't want this to be about ConversionWise. I want this to be about giving value, but we do have an academy. If you want to learn more about lower volume optimization and conversion principles, you can go to conversionrateacademy.com. Guys, maybe you can put that in the chat as well. But yeah, let's run through some more questions.
I was going to say there's a couple software specific. Leslie and Miguel, you both sort of Leslie, you mentioned you've used Microsoft Clarity or you're using Microsoft Clarity. Miguel, you mentioned you'd already invested and paid for a software for heat maps. So just checking if they can use those with what you're saying.
You can absolutely use Clarity. Clarity obviously has a free version, and you've invested, I think it was Miguel, in some heat map software. Heat map software is essential. You need it. The reason we push heatmap.com is purely because it's revenue backed. So whereas Clarity, Hotjar, they'll have scroll mapping, they'll have heat maps, they'll have click data, click maps based on users clicking. What heatmap.com will do is it will tell you not only where they clicked, but where they generated you revenue, because you can have skewed data in Hotjar or Clarity, for example, because Clarity could tell you that button A was clicked the most times. So you think, brilliant, button A needs to be enhanced, or we need to do more of button A. But what heatmap.com will tell you is it might have been clicked the most, but actually generated the least amount of revenue. So button C, that's further down the fold, actually generated the most revenue. And you can make informed decisions based on, okay, is that because of the call to action text was different? Is it the placement? Is it the color of the button? Is it the positioning? Normally, it's not stuff as simple as that, but you can then make more revenue informed decisions based on heat map data. Not to say that the others don't work. Use them, that's fine. And obviously, if you don't have the budget for heatmap.com, I totally understand. But that's why we recommend heatmap.com.
Perfect. There's a few questions in here with regards to the post-purchase surveys. So I'm just trying to pull them back out now, but I'm aware. Dennis, you asked if the questions on slide 24 are in order of how you asked them. Now, I'm sure you can elaborate on the questions.
I think it's dependent on your brand. For example, if you're a brand that relies heavily on repeat purchase, so like consumable products, let's say you're a supplement brand, asking the question why you purchased today is great, but asking a question, for example, like how often would you take these supplements, is more valuable to you, because you can then let those responses basically tell you what you should be doing on your product. So let's say, for example, majority of people said, oh, we use them every day for 45 days. You might want to come up with a 45-day subscription because it's ideal for your specific target demographic and customer. What I say is the most important. I would typically ask between kind of 5 and 6 questions. You don't want to be focusing on like 10, 20 questions because people just get pissed off and won't fill in the full survey. But really importantly, things like, why did you purchase today is huge. Most importantly, why did you almost not purchase today will give you that real insight that you can then change on your page. Then it's more product specific questions, like you can also use multi answered questions. So you could say, for example, on Boom, you could say like, what does this product do for you? Does it increase your confidence? Does a skin foundation increase your confidence? Does it make you feel younger? Does it make you feel more energetic? And again, you can then tailor your messaging on the front end based on those answers. So it's a great question, but there's no one size fits all. I think the two most are why you purchased, why you almost didn't. And then the rest should be informed decisions based on your specific product or brand. Keep those questions coming, guys. Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm going to run through these from the top. Andy, not sure if you're here, but I'll go through them as well. So Gaurav has said, can you suggest resources or agencies for website optimization? Guys, I'm going to be really biased here, of course. We have an agency that we've been running for 11, 12 years. We're offering that free report. Liza's going to put the link back in the chat. If you want a free discussion on a very unbiased discussion on where we would increase your conversion rates based on landing pages or ongoing CRO, fill in that link. We'd love to chat with you guys. ConversionWise has been doing this for 11, 12 years. And yeah, I'm going to have to answer ConversionWise because that's what we do and that's what we're obsessed by. So moving on. Okay, so Hassan's asking, how can you improve my landing page? He's sent a link. I'm not going to do any audits on here. If you guys want me to do some audits, I have spoken to Lauren at Zipify and Ezra. I would love a permanent slot with you guys month to month, maybe, where I come on and actually audit your pages. If people would like that, say yes in the chat, because I think that would be super, super valuable. But if you want us to audit your page, you can also join our Conversion Rate Academy. We do weekly audit clinics inside there. It's less than $50 a month, and we'll actually audit your pages and tell you what you should be doing. Okay, Ricardo has said, how can I get insight? Constantly I analyze statements, but it's difficult insight to get real value. Yeah, that's sometimes where you need to hire externally or rely on an expert to kind of look at the data. It's become very, very hard to attribute these days. Obviously, GA4 is now up and running, and if you know how to use it, it can be super powerful, but it's not always the hardest to implement, and that's coming from someone who's very non-technical. Andy is very technical. But yeah, it's something that, yeah, I think you may need to ask an expert to do. What do you do if your customers do not read your emails? Hire about an email agency. No, the real answer there is I would do this post-purchase. So I think you're probably asking the question from a survey standpoint. If you're sending out a survey to email customers who already purchased, then just set up your post-purchase, because they don't get an email. It just happens on the flow. They check out within Shopify. Below the fold is a post-purchase embedded survey, and you just do it from within the confirmation page. Guys, there's so many questions, so I'm going to fire through these really quickly. I know that everyone's time is valuable. We've probably got another 10, 20 minutes, but I really want to just give you guys some value. Okay, so how do you prioritize something like one-click upsell post-purchase offers versus post-purchase surveys? Yeah, great shout. Won't they annoy customers? Really easy answer here, and it's a escape answer from me, but you have to test it. Just test based on that revenue per session across the whole funnel. If a post-purchase survey, then a post-purchase review has a negative effect, typically they're always going to land on a thank you page anyway. So they get to that confirmation step regardless. So a post-purchase survey is just an addition of that thank you page. And you have to position it as a convenience to the customer and as an importance for your brand. So the text should be something like, thank you for your purchase today. We really appreciate it. In order for us to make your buying decision, to make your experience even better and improve our brand for other customers, please take 2 minutes to fill in the survey. It's a convenience. It's not like a fill in this survey pop-up, like it's just on the thank you page. So typically, I don't think those two things contradict each other. It should be okay. Mike said, what do in the hypothesis stage? Can you explain that more? So yeah, in the hypothesis stage, as I said, it's about looking into that qualitative data and that quantitative data, analytics versus surveys, excuse me, and then coming up with the ideas that you think are going to increase your revenue per session, and then ranking them. Have a look into ICE framework, PXL framework. You can Google these things. It's very readily available. Ask ChatGPT to come up with a A/B testing framework for hypotheses and rank them. Rank the tests that you come up with that you think will win or lose, well, win typically, and rank them via ease of implementation, confidence that you think it's going to win, and highest revenue. So what's going to bring the most revenue? Rank them and then start at the top based on that. On your preview boom win page, you showed hypotheses of design in Figma. Can you explain this? What do you use Figma for? Yeah, so we use Figma for design. All of those designs were designed within Figma first and foremost. So when you sign up to our agency at ConversionWise, you get assigned a full team. You have a designer, you have a junior CRO, a senior CRO, a data analysis, a developer. So it's a full team that does this for you. But first and foremost, we come up with the hypotheses or the test ideas as a redesign. We don't just do it in development. We redesign it first and foremost, hence why you saw the Figma file. We'll then present the customer, like Ez and team, the Figma file to get their feedback on, because typically you're very protective over your brand. You might have something that says, I don't like that color, or that doesn't suit my brand. And that's fine, because no one knows your brand better than you do. So we will then take that design, get some feedback. Normally it's 1 or 2 rounds, and then we will then develop it inside convert.com. So it never actually is live on your site. It sits in with a container within the A/B testing software. We get the stats, and only when that's statistically significant, we will then implement it onto your store for you to run. Okay, so Carly said, I have a question about metrics to be tracking when e-commerce business sells high dollar product range. Yeah, high OV, of course. A product target audience, we assume we will do extensive research before purchasing. Yep, that's possible to keep them warm. Why would you do research and talk to the customer care team about their unique needs and questions? For this case, I'm curious what metrics. Okay, so sorry, touch points. Yeah, so that's true of a high AV store. There's typically a longer buying journey. People will, like you say, do research. One tip for you, Carly, if you don't already, is be the places where those clients do research. And what I mean by that is things like pre-sales are super valuable, especially for high ticket products. So pages like advertorials, listicles, where you actually pre-sell and pre-warm the client up on your own pages can be huge. You know, for example, a lot of bed and mattress brands run a lot of listicle traffic because it gives them a way to pre-sell the customer on the quality of the product when they're making such a high purchase before going to the product page. They're not just sending traffic direct to the sales of the product page, they're sending them to an interstitial page that then pre-warms them up. So I would look into things like listicles, etc. And of course, you know, things like live chat are going to come into play as well because it's a higher price point. Okay, Joel, how do you factor seasonality sales? Perfect. And difference in marketing budgets. Yeah, seasonality does come into play with A/B testing. For example, Black Friday, we pause all of our clients' tests over Black Friday because we want the best possible version of that store. So we have like basically a hiatus, normally of 4 days, if not a week, where we just don't test. We just pause tests, let the sale run. If you are a store that runs a lot of sales, you can continuously A/B test because people are used to sales. If you run 2 or 3 sales per month per year, pause testing during those sales periods. Okay, so someone said how much. Joel said how much you test. Just new customers versus return, huge difference. Yeah. So the beauty of convert.com is you can filter. So you can filter via these use cases. You can also filter via mobile, desktop, and tablet. And that's one thing actually that's really important to note. A lot of people will choose a test as a losing test inside heat map software, but will forget or negate the fact that they have to filter via device. Sometimes we've seen overall stats saying it's a losing test, but when we actually filter into, for example, mobile, we can see it's a clear winner. So it's very important to segment down into different device types. Sorry, guys, I am trying to just get through as many of these as possible. If I don't answer your question today, like I say, book in that free discovery call. Liza, if you chuck the link in the chat again, I would appreciate it, where we'll have time to kind of answer and gear you for the best possible starting point. Or, as I said, you can join our Conversion Rate Academy at conversionrateacademy.com, where we have a live QA session every week as well. So almost like this, a back and forth, where you can join myself, Paul, Liza, the whole team, and we do live Q&A. So if I don't answer your question today, hopefully $50 isn't too much to ask from you, because if you join, that's what's going to cost you today. If you join the Academy, and you can have this opportunity in the future. And hopefully we can do a lot more with Ez and Zipify, etc. The mega menu test was done on desktop and only mobile. No, both. Yeah, we run all tests on desktop and mobile typically, and it won on both. How would you deal with internal resistance based on hunch or people not liking an idea? Yeah, very good question. Forgive me, I probably pronounced your name wrong, but Jace, maybe Jais. Really good question. That's a battle we have daily with our clients is brand versus results. The simple question is, what is your outcome? Is your outcome more revenue, or is it to protect your brand? Normally, you can find a middle ground where it's protecting the brand but increasing revenue, but it's a difficult one. It's the most kickback we get from our clients is that doesn't fit our brand, and ultimately, I have to normally go to higher ups and say, do you want us to generate you more money, or do you want to protect your brand? And 9 times out of 10, there's a middle ground to be had, but it is a problem. Okay, what tool do you use for sticky add to cart? Great question, Mike. There are plugins available. I would stay away from as many plugins as possible. Okay, the more plugins you have on your site, the more conflict of code, the more heavy loading your site speed will be. OCU and Zipify is an exception. It's an exceptionally incredible software. Use it. But when it comes to things like sticky add to cart, honestly, don't come to us, because we will charge you too much to do just that one little thing. But I would go on Upwork and just pay someone to hard code it into your store. You're going to get far better results and won't affect load speed. Any recommendations on review apps and store Review apps. You can look at things like Looks, testimonials.io, Senja is a really good one. All you want to make sure is that it doesn't affect load speed, and try and pick a testimonial app that allows you to have profile pictures and first and last names, because they'll convert better. Again, you won't go wrong with just custom HTML or blocks within Shopify. When you said testimonial page, does that mean reviews? The bottom PDP, other page showing. Yeah, so with this particular method, we've seen this win on a lot of client stores, is within your navigation. Again, guys, I'm just giving you value here. Quick hack: never have more than 5 or 6 links in your navigation. Install heat map and see which one generates the most revenue, cut all the others. You're just confusing people, so keep the user buyer journey simple. But you'd have 5, 6 links at the bottom, at the top of your navigation. One would just be called testimonials or reviews, and actually put the number of reviews that you've got in a counter, so 700 plus, 1,000 plus, 100,000 plus, and then just have a wall of reviews, and in between or at the bottom of the wall have call to actions to products. Or you can actually get clever, and if you know that a product a testimonial ID is a direct testimonial of a product ID, you can actually link the two, which works really, really well. Test it out. Winning test 3 for images instead of thumbnails. How many images are best? Great question. It's not about the amount of images, it's about the variations of images. So again, we teach this in our academy when it comes to the image section. I'm not going to do it justice here, but we show you examples of using things like infographics, very underdone on images. So yeah, of course, your first product image should probably be a very professionally shot image of your product. But when you go into the scroll and the thumbnails of your images, having things that annotate the USPs within your product are super, super powerful. So actually having your image with lines that says, you know, vegan friendly, boom, long battery life, boom, anti-aging antioxidants, boom, like actually annotating the USPs and showing it. CRO is so simple, guys. It's a lot of it's common sense. It's shoving things in front of people's faces, and it's going to work really, really well. Okay, what time frame are we talking for these 3 weeks of research to put into place? One day, I wish, Scott, I wish. Yeah, so typically when a client onboards with us, we spend the first 3 to 4 weeks on research. We come up with this 120-page plus audit, and that sounds overkill, but the insights that we get from that 3 to 4 week audit allows us to then run 3 to 4 months worth of tests and increase your revenue by, you know, millions, as we've done for Ezra. I wish it was a day. Do you work with startups? We do. Yeah, we do. We work with any businesses, but we will guide you based on where we think you sit best. I am not going to sell you on an ongoing CRO package like Ez has if I feel we can't get you results, or I feel you're not doing enough traffic to quantify a test. It's not good practice. Yes, it will make us more money, but that's not what we're here. If you look on our site, our mission is to make high conversion rates achievable for everyone. That's why we have a conversion rate academy at $50 per month. That's why we then have a solution at X amount per month that Ez and 50 plus other ecom brands use, because we want to cater to everyone. We want to be that forefront of CRO. As a website agency, if you're looking to bring in internal CRO expert or resource, where would you look? Yeah, great question. I think one thing that's always helped us grow as an agency is authority. And I don't mean to sound egotistical here, but I've always had quite a big following because I've been doing it for 11 years. So when we need to hire, I put a post out on Twitter or LinkedIn and we get 30, 40 applicants. And I think that's just because I do things like this. So I guess that's probably not what you want to hear, but I would try and grow your influence within the space so that you then align with people and they want to work with you. And that's why we've been very, very lucky. Roberto, I'm new to the ecom space. I'm in the process of launching a new Shopify store. Where would be the best CRO practices in the beginning? Again, I'm sorry to plug our stuff, but that's all I know. That's what I'm very proud of, and we've done for 11 years. You can go and head on over to conversionrateacademy.com. Liza, if you can track the link in the chat again. Then yeah, that's the place I would be going to. Liza just said that the calendar was full up, but she's just opened up more slots, so we're opening up more one-to-one reports for you guys. Did you use Zipify to create these tests? Yes, Hannah. Yeah, Boom uses Zipify. We can fully run CRO tests on Zipify. There's an additional step, but it's absolutely fine. What were the losing tests? Yes, Gillian, I love that question. And that's a really important question. And hopefully maybe we can come back in 6 months' time and show more winning tests and show some losing tests for you. It's a great question. Hence why we had that slide. I didn't want to be that guy who came on and said, we added 2 million additional revenue to Ezra. All tests were winning, blah, blah, blah. It's not a true reflection on CRO. That's not how it works. How much is conversion-wise? Open-ended question. We have our academy that starts at $50 per month. We have our landing page service that starts at $2,000 per month. We have our ongoing CRO solution that is very dependable on your size of traffic, etc. So booking that call with Liza and team and myself, and we'll give you some more information. I'm not getting conversions, so I need to inquire agency level. Yeah, I agree with you. If you're not getting results, hire someone who can get you results. Can we get recording? Yes, absolutely. We will put this up on our YouTube, hopefully tomorrow, and I will send you all out an email that will come out in a newsletter as well. When shopping around for an e-commerce company, what metrics would you look at? I think opportunity, I think longevity is important in e-com, having a product. The one thing that we have own e-com brands ourselves and have had successful and unsuccessful e-com brands in the past. One thing that I typically advise people on is having something that can be sold multiple times. It's going to be very hard to make money from a single product or a single SKU if it's not high ticket and you don't have huge margin. So having something that's consumable, having something that's very repeat purchase friendly. Boom, for example, you don't just buy a lipstick and that serves you for life. You come back every month and buy foundation or lipstick or something. So I think that's one metric I'd be looking for. Guys, I'm going to get through 3 or 4 more and then we're going to head off. By the way, guys, I really do mean it. If this helped you, I'd love you to tag me in Twitter, take a picture at Oliver Kenyon. I'll retweet you. It means a lot. I'm trying to grow in there. Okay, I just launched my first Shopify store. Pleased with the store results at 8K. I've spent monthly fees. This is great info, however. I feel like putting the cart before the horse here. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not sure if that was a question. Stacey said, what minimum level of revenue do you recommend being at before working with your team? Great question. I think it comes more down to visits. I think if you're above that 50,000 hits per month, and you want to go to the next level, let's have a conversation on the ongoing CRO. Of course, if you're below that, let's have a chat about landing pages and enhancing your store. At what point do you recommend to go complete website redesign instead of optimization? We're currently around 60,000 monthly visitors. Great question. Are you profitable? That's another question that I would ask you, because again, so many people make this mistakes. Now, I would back myself. I honestly would, as an agency who have designed more stores and landing pages than anyone on this planet, I believe, over the last 11, 12 years, I would back our agency to design a higher converting store than anyone else on this planet. Okay, done. However, sometimes you can do that. And if you have an existing store that's generating revenue and visitors, it can flop. And there's a couple of reasons why. Main reason is if you rely on repeat purchase and you change everything, those visitors are coming back to your store and they see a completely different experience, a completely different user buying experience, something completely new, and it could be detrimental to your returning customers. So I have a rule of thumb that if you're kind of above that sort of 80, 100,000 hits per month and you're profitable, iterate to success. Do not completely relaunch your store, because you could be absolutely disappointed with those results. How long do you run surveys for? Run surveys all the time, evergreen. Turn them on and run them and just capture data. Is there any value investing in platforms that claim they can push traffic to your store? I don't really know what platforms that would be. If you're looking for traffic, I would work with a recommended agency. We can make an intro if you like. We have several of them. Smart Marketer being one of them, of course, Molly Pittman and Ezra. Thank you. Could you give me 3, 4 popular tests that often succeed? Yeah, mega menu test, PDP test, cart and checkout obviously always going to work. So yeah, hopefully, again, it's just very detrimental. Right, one more question. Okay, if you run an A/B test on the collection page and another one on the product page at the same time, how can you be sure the results winning collection page? Absolutely. And that's why I said conflicting tests are not a good thing. So if the pages are direct touch points, so, you know, collection to PDP, and you don't have quick add on your collection page, I probably would stay away from it. If you can afford to, I would stay away from it. I wouldn't run conflicting tests, just run one test at a time, get the results and move on. Guys, thank you so much I've enjoyed this immensely. Hopefully I've given you some value. If I have, tag me in at Oliver Kenyon on Twitter. I'd love to hear your thanks inside the chat as well. It means so much to me to hear feedback. I hope I've given you value. As I said, you can check us out at conversionwise.com. You can hit that link that Liza will put one more time inside the chat, or go to conversionwise.com/Ezra to get your